This is the time when I kind of whiz through all the KDE updates. They're not all from our specific office, but they're short updates that don't require a full session. So there's a whole bank of people out there that are monitoring this Go Soapbox, and we'll be providing some answers beyond just what I can say. So I thank them for doing that, and we're gonna get going. And please, we'll take as much time as we need to for some questions, but those answers might be just addressed in the Go Soapbox. So we've got an extensive number of topics here. This is what we're going to cover in the next 30 minutes. So I'm not going to read them all to you, but as we go, it'll become clear, a little bit more about those topics. So if you have not already changed your active year, you can do that. I think most districts have, but we still have 30 or so districts that haven't changed their active year. There were some changes on this in the last, little bit, few years. One thing you want to remember is you want to confirm that your Frisky records have all been entered before you change the active year. So check with your Frisky folks if you've not already changed a year to make sure that's done, because adding or editing Frisky records is restricted only to the active year. What this active year, why it's important, is it controls the 3 years of data available, say like in our Tableau environment, our visualizations, those type of things. It doesn't have anything to do with what's visible on your portal. That changed, so that's not a non-issue now. But if you've got questions and want more information about end of year processing in this active year, you can check out the end of year checklist. The scope year change, it will occur on July 24th. You probably saw a notice that went out this morning that we're going to take the release that was scheduled for the 24th a little bit early. We're going to take it Friday night so that we can go ahead and get in production that fix for the transcripts. Some folks weren't able to access or print transcripts without using a workaround. So this was something that the reason why we're taking that release earlier. We're still going to reserve the July 24th date to do scope year change, and that's dependent on us being able to get everything synced and all that, because it is important that we sync everything to state edition, and that's a lengthy process at times. So it does impact the syncs, what immediately syncs to state edition. So the new year data will start syncing after that scope year change, and then the impact of the different scope years as far as what does sync in full versus what has limited syncing available, that active year, or that not active year, that scope year does impact those. We do have some state reporting submissions for 24-25. We update this every single year. This is just really an update for you to kind of give you a heads up and maybe something to look at, to think, okay, I got some key times that I need to make sure my data is really in good shape, but I need to look at it prior to these reporting timeframes. In Kentucky, we're able to do something that a lot of states aren't. We can pull your data for you. You don't have to pull this data yourself and send it to the state like they do in many other states. But it's only a good practice if we know the data we're pulling is of quality, and that's why we share this report submissions timeframe for you, so you can kind of watch out for that and do some quality reporting. And that's not a one-person job. It's something that you probably want to designate and make sure you've got people that understand they're responsible for looking at that data at these key points. We do have the emergency release I just mentioned. That is Friday. We're going to take the system down at 7 p.m. We know we're always hesitant to take the system down any more than we have to, especially as school year starts. But this one I think will help you all. So if you do have issues with it, please reach out. We're trying to be helpful, not cause any problems here. Beginning of year checklist has been updated. It does provide information on activities that need to be performed. So if you're new, or you just would feel more comfortable having a checklist to be able to double check you've done everything, this is a great document. We update it every single year to make sure we've done. And then if you haven't rolled your students forward after the first year of school, the school year change, please do that so that you can have everybody in the system as needed. The calendar app, we are working on trying to replicate what we all have known as the calendar app that's been used. We've been adding some reports to Infinite Campus. There is a new report. If you've not already seen it and you don't have access to it, and check with your KSIS administrator to make sure they give you access to it. This calendar days type, it provides a report to show all the day events and shows multiple calendars that you can do some verification that everything is set up as you'd expect it to be and it's correct. And we're doing some ongoing work to add some additional validations to the calendar edits report and a way to snapshot for approvals on the calendars. So that's work in progress, but we just really wanted you to be aware of that work and that new report that's available now. Campus Insights, hopefully this is not the first time you've heard of Campus Insights. Campus Insights are, as part of the analytics suites in Infinite Campus. That provides a lot of really cool reports, but if you don't know about it or you're not giving folks access to it, they don't know about it. So we really hope that you will help encourage folks to use it by first turning it on and maybe sharing some of these resources. A lot of tools, and where our data visualizations are limited to certain folks being able to access it, these are don't have those same limitations. Whatever roles and permissions you have in Infinite Campus carry forward into these reports. So if you can't see, free and reduced lunch, you're not going to be able to see it in these reports either. That's all taken care of through the permissioning in Infinite Campus. So, we want to make sure that we're promoting using data towards action and using real-time data and being able to see these reports and having a tool available to create your own personalized dashboard of data is a really nice place to start with that. So do help promote that. We are going to be providing some more training resources that are more, introductory training. We hope those are available soon. But these are some things that are out in campus community that you can access now to be able to learn more about the Campus Insights. And these are just some. There's more training options than these. But if you click on some of these links with this training resources, hopefully you'll be able to get the search I created for looking for Campus Insights materials. And this is just another intro. It's kind of an intro. We're not expecting you to do anything, or the only takeaway on this slide is really knowing what connected user experience system is coming. This is something that will allow for provisioning, not necessarily provisioning, but identity management between multiple applications. And we're going to be working with Identity Automation, who just recently was awarded a contract. And we'll be working with your chief information officers and others, but there will be some impact to Infinite Campus, especially around students, being able to make sure the students are in Infinite Campus and how they get to these other applications. So the importance of their identity information being correct is always important, but it's going to be even more important as we move into this new work. So stay tuned on that one. We have some data privacy reminders, and we do this every single year. Data privacy is very important. It's something that we all understand the importance of making sure that, our data, our children's data, our grandkids, our, friends' data is all secure. These are, the data we deal with on a daily basis is somebody's, and it's important to keep that safe. Normally by now you've probably already got your annual disclosures available, and they were already ready to go out to the district's students on the first day of school. But also put those on your website. That information should be available on websites as far as what your annual or what your directory information disclosures about, and also your officials exceptions. Both of those are exceptions that the districts use under FERPA on directory information. You're tracking students that opted, that maybe families opted out from sharing their information. And there is a new tool in Infinite Campus that is available that will help with that. We'll get into that later. But there's also things that if you've got new folks, sometimes there's not time to do those trainings, as they come on board and they're boarding. But good foundational information about data ethics, online, like FERPA training, things like that. There's resources available that I know we use at the state level to help folks understand what the expectations are and what the requirements are. And it's also a good time and a good opportunity to remind you to make sure you've got people that have the access they need. We talk about making sure you give people access to what they need, but it's also important to not have people with access that they don't need. So people may change jobs, they have different responsibilities, they don't no longer need the level of access they had before. They also may have left the district, or they may be new. This active user account and access usage report can be run to see what level of access folks have. So we hope you will use that to help ensure that folks have only the access that they need and not more. District and school contacts, this is information that we use, especially around principals and superintendents. We actually load this information into the school report card, so it's important that that information is correct. But it's also important that we have good points of contact for all the other roles. We use the information in this system to communicate with you. The KSIS points of contact. If somebody sets them up as a KSIS point of contact, we automatically get that notification and update our contact list. So they're going to get the information on new newsletters that are going out or other updates, systems down, anything like that, they're going to get those. And if we don't have their name, they're not getting the information they need. So the best way to check that is go to openhouse.education.ky.gov and go to the directory, choose your district, and look and make sure that the district level contacts are correct. You can actually go down to the school level. There's not as many roles at the school level, but there are some roles at school level. You can choose each of your schools and make sure the contacts are correct there. If they're not, work with your WAPOC, and your WAPOC is listed at the bottom of the district page. That's usually your district technology coordinator or somebody in that department. But work with that person to get the names updated to be correct. E-transcript, we did update our website. I know we get a lot of requests for people needing transcripts and they're not all things that we can help them with. We've added some new contact references on specific, like if you need this, here, reach out to this. That's some information that you may find helpful, but you also may want to use it and update your own website to provide some additional information around transcripts. Parchment continues to be the standard for high school transcripts. So we want to make sure that we're promoting that within our counselor's office and so forth, that we do electronic transcripts. There's a lot of advantage to your students by having us go through the electronic transcript process instead of a paper transcript. It's much more efficient for the colleges and universities. The information is going to be loaded in most cases electronically, so it's less opportunity to make mistakes. So please help promote electronic transcripts. Parchment is good about providing some training opportunities. That information comes out, and if you don't have anybody getting that information, don't hesitate to reach out to me or to Madeline White. We can connect you with the Parchment representative. So Infinite Campus invoices have gone out. They actually went out back in April, and we asked Infinite Campus to send them out early so districts have as much flexibility as they can to either pay old year money or new year money. They are not due until August the 15th. So we've gotten our first list of districts that have paid and not paid, and we'll start following up on this later this month with districts that have not paid. We typically send that out to the chief information officers. I know they don't necessarily love it when those come to them, but they are a lot of times the point of contact to make sure that those bills have been paid. If you can't find that the invoice has been received or processed, you can reach out to us at KDE data request at education.ky.gov, and we can get you we can get you a copy of the invoice. If for some reason your finance officer wants one with a more current date, you're going to have to reach out to Infinite Campus. We've only got copies of what went out in April. So we do have a KEYS eligibility report. This is just a reminder to you to run that. It's always good to run once your schedule is set and the students are enrolled. Make sure that the students aren't going to miss out on a year of KEYS eligibility because of a scheduling thing. This report is just looks to ensure that the minimum number of credit, experienced base work courses, and are all in place and are going to be make that student eligible. There may be cases where a student just says, I don't care, this is my schedule. That's fine, but I think it's better that if we can take a look at that in advance and make sure that we have as many students eligible for KEYS money as we possibly can. So we have a new, not new, but we have a lead vacancies, and we get questions about using the vacancy placeholders. This information is on the Census State Information Data Standard. vacancy placeholders or should be used for any district teacher vacancy. There's 20 set up that could be used. Provides accurate depiction of your staffing needs. It's helpful. So any questions about the lead process and how these placeholders can be sent to the educator licensure group at leadteam@education.ky.gov. We do have some national forum on education statistics. This is maybe a new entity to you all. It's not something new to me because I've been involved with it. I'm actually chairing this group this year and next. But we do have some resources on data literacy. If you're looking at a data topic and you're trying to figure out if it's done before, if there's any documentation, this is a great place to go and just kind of get information on maybe what other, this is basically a volunteer organization from all the states and local education agencies. Dina Dossett is the local education agency rep for Kentucky, and she's with JCPS, and I am the state. So there are some online courses. I mentioned the data ethics ones earlier, but we've also got data visualization and data quality online courses. And sometimes it's just nice to be able to go out and be able to use one of those national resources for some training that you may be planning otherwise. So preschool enrollment, I can't talk, preschool enrollment count, and how do students pull into the preschool enrollment counts? This information is just a reminder to you. KRS 157.3175 determines district preschool and program funding. It's based on the average number of preschool children served on December 1st and March 1st of the prior academic year. So the funding enrollment numbers are pulled from Infinite Campus report, preschool enrollment count. Therefore, it is essential that districts make sure that all eligible preschool students are enrolled accurately on or before each of the determining dates. So this is just a reminder for you of the importance of that. Anytime funding's around it, we know it's all important. There is an error report that's associated with this. It will assist the districts in verifying preschool data. It's up to date for federal and state reporting. The items that are highlighted in yellow on the report indicate an error that should be reviewed, and we encourage you to resolve errors to ensure preschool records are accurate. Items highlighted in orange indicate a warning and should be reviewed, but it may not need a correction. That's up to you to decide. So we do have the updated release and maintenance schedule. The 2024 Infinite Campus release schedule is posted on the KSIS webpage. Kentucky takes the monthly update on the second Wednesday of the month, and it's taken in the evening to be the least impactful as we can make it. When you review the schedule, you'll notice that we take an additional release in July and September to avoid an August outage. The naming convention of the release lets you know the year and the week of the release, and as a rule, Kentucky waits an additional month before taking a release to just make sure that there are any bugs or issues associated with it. An email is sent about 10 days prior to the release, and that's one of those emails I mentioned earlier that the KSIS points of contact get. And so if you're not listed as a KSIS point of contact and should be, make sure that it gets updated in People Role Manager. We'll highlight in that email core product changes, Kentucky-specific items, and Campus posts a full listing of enhancement and fixes on Campus Community. So they've stopped offering the highlights that on the live sessions, but instead, latest innovations recording is released monthly, and it's at Infinite Campus products, infinitecampus.com products, latest innovations. The server maintenance schedule is weekly on Wednesdays. More information, see the managed services policies on Infinite Campus site. And as you review this information, please share it with those in your district to help everyone keep informed. The school report card is going to be a little bit different this year. It's been impacted by a new contract. We used Bright Bytes, and then Google bought them out, and Google decided they weren't going to do this work anymore. So we do have a new contract in place now. It is with ANLAR. They were awarded the contract in mid-February. So it was later than we originally anticipated. So they will have some additional time to deploy the school report card for 2024. So all the dates are going to be a little bit different. It'll be mid-September before it opens up to districts for them to start, approving data and also entering the collection data for the school profile report and other components of the school report card. So keep that in mind. We do continue to encourage districts, and if you haven't already seen it, I did send an email out through the commissioner's Monday message, and also to DPPs and school report card contacts this week about this information, and encouraging them to start working on the data quality and not to wait for the tool to open. Even though the school report card, what we call the dashboard piece of it, is not going to be released until later, the school report card is bigger than that. The school report card includes the open house supplemental data sets, historical school report card data sets, and it includes other information. So it is important to understand that just it's one component that's going to be delayed, and I probably should have started with that, but the one component that is going to be delayed does not impact the assessment and accountability data that's going to come out in early October. That information will come out in early October. So it's important to make sure that the data, underlying data, the race, ethnicities, the programs the students are involved in, all that is correct, because that is stuff that does impact accountability and assessment performance reporting, and that will be done in throughout September and released publicly in October. So keep that in mind. Do promote there. There is a quality assurance worksheet that is promoted. That is available on the School Report Card Resources web page that does list individual Infinite Campus reports that can be used to test quality of data and review the data. So please take a look at that and make sure that the people that need it have assigned the rights to those reports so that they will be able to see them in Infinite Campus. So this may be something that's a little techie for some, but it's important to update the SFTP legacy. It's being deprecated, I should say it right, on September 11th. So, any import or export jobs using SFTP legacy will stop working after the campus release that we plan for September 11th. I know we still have districts using this older version, and so we do need them to make sure that they are looking at this information and get those data exchanges updated to the newer tool so that they will not be impacted. So please help to promote this information within your district, and probably work with your CIOs and your district technology administrators in that area, because they probably help set some of these up. Social Security number diet, you probably have heard us talk a little bit about this in the past. From a KDE perspective, we are really trying to push back on collections that include Social Security number. We at the state have already taken some measures to try to help us at this level. We understand there is a KIA requirement for districts to provide Social Security numbers. We've had some conversations with KIA about relooking at that to see if there's other options. At this point, we're not ready to go there, but there's a lot of data out there that, at the state level, we don't need Social Security numbers. We have no requirements for Social Security numbers for KDE. So that data will no longer sync to KDE at all after a fall release, and KDE will take all the Social Security numbers that are available in our state edition site out, and we'll work with campus to have those removed sometime later this fall too. We are also working on a tool with campus to try to develop a tool that would allow districts to do some of the same type of work through a automated process where they could go in and select to just remove students that are already graduated or no longer enrolled in the school, or certain groups of students or staff emails out of the system. And this just helps us all avoid some of the risk. If anything was ever breached, the less amount of data we have, it does reduce the impact to a data breach. We hope that never happens to us, but we also know nothing is 100% protected. Teacher turnover report has been updated. This report is something that the Office of Educator Licensure and Effectiveness, Todd Davis is our contact typically for this report, and Tessa Harris, I think, is helping you out with this also. This does run from a static data table that has been refreshed. And with this next release, I think we're going to have the I think this is the one that we'll have the 23-24 drop down in. We encourage you to go ahead and start running this after that release, after the 23-24 outage, because take a look at that data to make sure you agree. If there's issues with it, it's better to resolve them now than waiting until the school report card opens. Work-based learning deadline, records all must be entered into Infinite Campus by July 31st. These are all required fields for accountability. There's got to be a start date, a career readiness type, there's status, there's hours, and state course code. And just another reminder that just because our visual dashboards and school report card are not going to be available until November, accountability, which does include this career readiness and work-based learning, or post-secondary readiness, I think it's referred to now, it is going to be done with the October release. So it's important to have this information available and updated, and making sure that it is working as you would expect it to before accountability is calculated. There are some resources available. There's links here to the different resources that can be helpful to you in making sure that this information is correct in Infinite Campus. So user access, the active user account access usage report provides a list of all the active users with the date timestamp when they last logged in, and some statistics about their login activity. If you see somebody that has access that has not logged in for years, it probably makes sense to just go ahead and revoke their access. Maybe they don't need access to Infinite Campus. Sometimes some of these stale accounts can be very ripe for cybersecurity folks to try to access through. So, we encourage you to generate the report, make sure that only those folks that should have access have it, and if they're not using it, consider maybe asking them if they really need it and going ahead and revoking their access, and disabling that. The next session is not going to be until 1:30, so that's going to be ensuring systematic behavior administration. We're hopeful that all the KSIS folks that do a lot of this data entry will come back and join us at 1:30, and also the PBIS teams in your district will join in too, so they can kind of hear this valuable information at 1:30. But in the meantime, I'm going to see if there's some questions that have come in. Let's see. So there's a couple questions about the post-training survey. It will actually go out only to those that have registered. So if you have not registered and you want ELA credit, then go ahead and register. The registration is still open today. So if you just got this information at the last minute and you just jumped on the media portal, that's awesome. We're glad to have you. But go ahead and register so that you will get the post-training survey. And so that's important if you do want the ELA credit. There is a question about the vaping behavior resolution. I don't know if anybody's still on with that, but we'll put an answer out there for that one, and it will be in the Q&A document we post.